Hi, Jules here from Joolsedesigns and JT Creations. So what I've got today is an envelope. I made it out of a digital. You see I've got glitter all over me. And a bit of gold card, and I made a little fancy button. But I know not everybody likes working with digitals, so I wanted to do another one. So what I decided to do was to work on a double boob page. I just made it the same size as an A4 piece of paper. I put a little bit of washi tape down because it was a double boob page, and it was just to reinforce it. And I'll put another piece in here, and this is what we're going to make our next envelope with. Now I have printed on this. I love printing on my book pages when I'm making things with them. Don't get me wrong, I don't always I do normally, I do use book pages without printing on them, but there's just sort of like a, I don't know whether you can see, that's actually one of the Rich and Bella Crafts, the Bohemian Girl digitals that I've used, and I quite liked it because it goes with my Summer Days digital. So what I did was I just folded it up. I don't measure, but I can give you the measurements. So it's just 3 3/4, just under 10 centimeters, and that's just under, it's just under a A4, because A4 is 21 centimeters. So what I did was I folded it up. I folded that bit over there because I just like to give book page a little, well, any type of paper, I like to give it a little bit more support. And I should really have my messy mat down, otherwise I'm going to get glue all over my desk, and then when I come to use digital glitter and stuff like that, it sticks all over. So all I'm doing is I'm sticking that down again, fold that up, and I fold that over. Now that's nice as it is. I could decorate that, stick it up, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to use some die cuts. If you don't have die cuts, that's fine. You can sort of like draw a pattern, and then if you get to the middle and just fold it over and cut round your pattern, then you get it the same on both sides. But I've already cut the gold card out for this, so I'm going to go away a minute and I'll just cut this out with the die. So it's, I think AliExpress I got these from. I'm not quite sure, I've had them a long time, and I'm just going to cut this so I've got a nice fancy flap. So I'll see you. That's me back. So I've cut it out, and the reason I'm using gold card is because in my card making days I bought tons of this stuff and I've got an excess and I need to get it used, and it's there. So I'm just going to trim this off on the guillotine. I'm not bringing it into the camera because it's just, it's too big. It's a big Fiskars thing. And I just want a tiny little bit to peek out. Okay. And I'm using a new camera today, so I'm just checking it out. If not, I'm going back to my old camera. And we'll just press that down. Oh, that'll do, it'll be fine. And as I'd cut the book page down just under A4, there's a bit of an excess, which is fine. So I'm just trimming it down the edge there. Okay, now I did use some of the gold on the bottom of that. I've still got it, but I'm not sure if I want to use it on this one. I quite like the book page, and I don't want it to look too much the same. So I will use these for other bits and pieces. Now for the button, all I did was I used the same gold card. I'm going to make a bigger button this time. I'm going to make a, I think this is 1.5 inches. And I just cut the button out. And I did put, on this one, I used the, you know, the tiny little beads. They're an absolute nightmare to use. They just get all over, they jump out all over. But I am going to use them. I'm going to use these ones. So I'm just going to use some. Just a bit of serviette. Just going to put the lid on my, and get my chair so I can sit down. And all I did was I just went round, I just guessed it. If it looked right, it was fine by me. Because I'm trying to use up all this glue in here so I can refill it, because it's just what's left from when I came back from Cyprus, which was the end of March. I mean, this glue does go a long way. It lasts an absolute age. But I think with sort of like travelling in the hold, not in the hold, yeah, in the luggage, because I think it got a little bit cold, and then it was hot in Cyprus and then back. So it keeps clogging up, and I've had it in hot water and that made it runny, and just trying to get this all filled in with glue so I can get this in. It's not self-leveling stuff, this. I could have used glossy accents. That probably would have been better, but it takes a bit longer to dry, glossy accents. Now, as I say, these are an absolute nightmare. And they're full of electricity, so let me pick that up. And then all I do is I just pour that on there. And just put that to the side to dry. Now it's getting this back in here. Got a little bit of something that shouldn't be in there. Okay. If this works, I wished I'd just found it years ago, because I've got a couple of little pots of these. Yeah, see, they're still going all over. Right. I think because they're so tiny. And then I might put a little bit more of that on as well once it's dry. Okay. And then what I'm doing is I'm just going to a straight line. And anybody that knows me knows I cannot glue in a straight line. It's not too bad because I've got the text that I can use as a guideline. And I'm just pressing it out the way. And so that's that. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to put some labels on. Now these labels I made myself, and there is a video where I show you how to make these labels. They're on sticky, it's just sticky labels. And I'll put one there. And I think we'll have one here as well. In fact, we'll have this that way. And I've got some paper flowers, we'll see. Yeah. Getting out a pair of scissors. Again, these are just what I've picked up in the range or wherever I've been at the time. I've got some little Hessian ones as well, so we'll see. Makes it look like a little clutch purse. The only thing with putting these on, it makes it a little bit big for going in a journal. But what I'm thinking of doing is putting a pocket on the front of my journal and maybe put this in. And then that way that would be fine. So I'm going to put this down here, and I am going to use fabric tack. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to use art glitter glue. Now, do I want some white ones as well? Yep. The little white ones are just, again, they're little paper flowers as well that I got in a pack, probably either from Hobbycraft or the range. Just let me bend that bit of wire in. And I did a letters digital kit just at the end of last year. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to print off one or two of the letters to go in these. But you can put journal cards, you can put tags, you can put your own bits and pieces in. And just let me have a look at that. And then that will just fit under there. I quite like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and I'm going to stitch it. And I will come back to you, because I'm going to stitch the both of them, and I'll come back when they've both been stitched. I'll see. Hi, that's me, I'm back. So I've stitched. I just did a plain stitch. I didn't do any zigzags, and I did the same down the side there. I've still got bits of cotton. I thought I'd got rid of them. And I printed my letters out. The paper that I've used was paper that I got when I was in Cyprus, well, when we were in North Cyprus. It's like an old yellowy parchment paper, and it's like typewriter paper. And all I did was I just printed one of the French letters off on it, and that will just go in there. In fact, I might need that. I've had to trim it down because obviously it's A4. And these are cut down a little bit more than A4, and I'm just going to put some ink on the edges. Put the two together because they are yellowed at the edge. It is quite delicate paper. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that one up. And then just do the edges like that. And I just thought this paper would be nice to print the letters on. That's why I wished I'd bought a couple more packets, because it wasn't very dear. I think, well, in Turkish lira it sounds like it costs an absolute fortune. But once I'd worked it out, I think it was about 45 pence. They had a brilliant shop in North Cyprus, Dennis Plaza. And it was just like one great big 3-story art shop. It was absolutely brilliant. And then we'll just put that in there. And that's our nice letter. And I'll fold that one over that way, just but we will be going back. Well, we go and spend our winters in Cyprus, so we always go to North Cyprus, but this year we're taking the dog. It's actually costing more to fly to crate the dog out than it is for us to fly out there. But as long as she's got a rabies injection, she's all up to date with her injections and everything. There's no quarantine in Europe. But I'm not quite sure what the criteria is for taking them into North Cyprus. I'll need to find that out. So that looks as if it's ripped a bit. It's cracked. So we'll put some and I'm going to put some lace on this as well. Got some nice lace and it's white, but yeah, I'm going to put it across the middle. Just bling it up a bit, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run some ink over that lace. Just to age it down a bit. And it's just tea dye. If you wanted to, you could put the ink pad on the mat and then mix water with it. Usually if I'm doing a batch of lace, that's what I do. And then just dip the lace in, but because it's just one, I'm not going to do that. Now, yeah. And I am going to use Fabri-Tac for this. Now, the one thing about Fabri-Tac is it's not great when you've just had your nails done, because it removes your nail varnish. And just to help me get in a straight line, I'm trying not to get it on my nails. Just go back into the camera. And just take that off. And these little bits I keep because they do for clusters and things. So we just need to let that get a little bit dry. Now what I did with this was I squished it down a little bit as well. Tried to get some of the glue to dry off. And I'm just inking around the edges just to get rid of the white bit of the card. It's not going to be a fastener or anything, it's just going to sit behind the button. The button is just going to sit behind the flower. and put it in the middle. Still, the glue's still not quite dry on that, but there we are. Now what I did do in the last one, I made some stamps just out of the ends of book pages that had been cutting off. And I think what we might do is we might use one of these. So I'm just going to, when I find my, some of the book pages were whiter than the others. I just stamped on just the edges that I'd been trimming off. Waste not, want not. And we'll just put that over there. Sorry. Now on this one I put glitter. I just edged round the fancy edge with glitter, but obviously I've not done that this time because I didn't put the fancy edge on. But I hope you get something out of this. So you can make these out of all your scrap bits of paper. If you don't have any book page but you've got some plain paper and stamps, you can just stamp on it, you know, make yourself a collage of stamping, or make yourself like a masterboard. We're just using thin bits of paper to make your envelopes, but it's just an A4 and it makes like a nice, what I call a clutch purse envelope, and they always look so pretty when they're in journals. And you can put all sorts in them, you know, if you're giving it away, you can put some sort of like blank paper. I mean, that's a letter, but you've got journaling space on the back. So anyway, enough of the waffle. So I hope you get something out of that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.